Welcome to Zero1 Odysseys. Your desert off-roading adventure is about to begin. In just a few minutes, you will arrive at the ranch at Zero1. The ranch will serve as our base camp for what we are certain will be an experience of a lifetime. So let's kick things off with a few things to expect in the next hour or two. First, we'll enter town, make our way to the ranch courtyard, and park the bus to unload. It's here you'll meet the rest of the Zero1 crew and relax in the clubhouse while our team takes care of the luggage. We will give you a quick tour of the facility. Inside you will find an electronic information board that will list your cabin and room assignments, as well as information on the schedule of events, Wi-Fi information, weather, and contact information. This information will be updated throughout the tour, so keep an eye on the board for updates as needed. Once you've had a chance to check out the cabins and your room assignments, we will gather back at the clubhouse to get everyone fitted for helmets and go over the buggy assignments. When everyone is ready, we will head to the buggies to do a quick vehicle familiarization. Once we've covered the vehicles and communication, it's time to strap in, complete a radio communication check, and get ready to head out for our first drive.
In the meantime, we want to take a few minutes to go over how the off-road tour works. Zero1 has access to an unprecedented number of trails available for this adventure. You'll experience varying terrain, elevation changes, and unbelievable scenery. Our goal is to cover as much ground as possible during the day. The ability to cover more than 125 plus miles a day is made possible by the performance of the Zero1 buggy and the effectiveness of the tour procedures. Our buggies are custom-built, race-ready off-road vehicles, capable of handling the desert terrain safely and comfortably. While they may look a little intimidating, you'll quickly see they're easy to drive. The key is taking the time to get comfortable with how the buggy handles in this environment versus the everyday car or truck you may be used to. Here are some key pieces of information. Rear-wheel drive, not four-wheel drive. 2,800 pounds. 70% of the weight is on the rear tires. 2.5-liter Subaru engine, naturally aspirated. 4-speed manual transmission, 190 horsepower, 165 pound-foot of torque. Ideal RPM range, 2,500 to 5,000 RPMs. 18 inches of suspension travel, 14 inches of ground clearance. What does this all mean? The buggy has a good power-to-weight ratio. The majority of the weight is on the rear tires, which is opposite of most production vehicles. The high center of gravity and soft suspension allow the vehicle to easily handle the rough terrain. All this adds up to a vehicle that will handle differently than any other vehicle you've driven. Take your time to get used to how the buggy handles. You'll find that it takes a lot less steering effort than most vehicles to get it to change direction. If you drive it like a traditional vehicle, you'll find the back of the buggy wants to slide out. While getting your desert drift on might seem fun, it's also important that we protect the sidewall of the tires in our off-road environment. Sliding the back of the vehicle exposes the tire sidewalls to rocks, sticks, plants, and giant scorpions that can lead to a tire puncture. We'll start out with an easy pace to give everyone a chance to get used to how the buggy handles. And we're completely kidding about the giant scorpions.
One of the most important aspects of the Zero1 tour is our ability to communicate between vehicles. Each buggy is equipped with a radio and intercom system. The intercom system allows for clear driver to co-driver communication, while the radio allows buggy-to-buggy communication. We will take time to go over how to plug your helmet in and how to operate both the radio and intercoms before we start driving. On-trail radio communication provides three important benefits. Increases safety. You hear what's going on, you can call out questions and update locations. Keeps us on trail. We'll all know where we're going if we lose line of sight. Enhances the overall experience. You can speak with others and your co-driver throughout the journey. The guide will relay information over the radio to all buggies throughout the tour. This information will include direction changes, cautions, dangers. Communicating direction changes allows everyone to stay on course without needing to have a visual of the buggy directly in front. This is especially beneficial when there is a lot of dust. Drivers can spread out to stay out of the dust, which increases safety and allows everyone to enjoy the amazing scenery without the concern of getting lost. Using the communication process effectively also allows us to cover more distance by not requiring each buggy to stop at every turn to wait for the vehicle behind. We will explain exactly how the process works in a minute. Cautions are simply warnings that the guide calls out to the group to warn them that they are approaching something on the trail they need to be aware of. Examples of caution callouts may be deep washouts in the trail, sharp turns, oncoming vehicles, wildlife, etc.
All cars, oncoming traffic, stay to the right, 6.2.
When the guide calls out the caution, it is expected the drivers will adjust their speed, visually locate the caution, and take the appropriate steps to navigate through the caution.
Dangers are an elevated level of cautions that require drivers to slow dramatically and sometimes even come to a complete stop before proceeding. Danger callouts are not common. In almost every case of a danger callout, the guide will stop at the identified spot and wait for all buggies to arrive before proceeding. In the event of a danger callout, it's critical that all drivers dramatically slow their speed well in advance and relay to the drivers behind them when they arrive at the designated spot. The communication process is quite simple. We use the onboard navigation system to provide us with the distance that each buggy travels by using the trip calculator setting. At the start of each day, the nav system will be reset so that the trip distance displays 0.0. The trip distance will serve as the reference for all callouts communicated by the guide. For example, when the guide reaches a right turn that requires a callout, they'll send out over the radio,
Right turn, 2.3.
The buggies that are following can use their trip distance to determine how far they are from the turn, knowing that they'll turn right at 2.3. Here's the critical part. Each driver must call out when they reach the turn. The co-driver of buggy number 1 will communicate over the radio.
Car 1 making the right at 2.3.
These callouts will continue in sequence by each driver when their waypoint is reached,
Car 2, making the right at 2.3.
until all buggies have made it through the location of the turn. The important thing to remember is that callouts must only happen when the buggies are at the turn and not immediately after hearing the callout. This is important for two reasons. The guide will listen to the callouts to judge the distance between buggies and will use this information to adjust the pace as necessary. Repeating the callout allows all the approaching drivers to hear the information clearly prior to arriving at the designated spot. The distance between buggies will grow as the speed increases because of dust. This distance can sometimes cause the radio communication between the guide car and the buggies near the back to be weak. This sequential process allows the communication to the rear buggies to be clear. The same process is used to communicate cautions and dangers.
There will be some instances where the guide will stop at the turns or at the location of a caution or danger. In this case, the guide will call out a caterpillar stop.
Caterpillar stops, 6.3, right turn.
When a Caterpillar stop is called, the guide will stop at the designated spot and wait for buggy number 1 to arrive before proceeding. It is critical that each buggy follow the same process, even if that buggy must wait for what seems to be a long time. Each buggy must call out when they arrive at the Caterpillar stop and wait for the buggy next in line.
Car 1 at the Caterpillar stop, 6.3, right.
Car 2, Caterpillar stop, 6.3, right.
The Caterpillar stop is used when there are multiple turns at the same intersection that could cause confusion, when there have been multiple turn callouts in a short distance, when the guide needs to close the distance between buggies, when approaching cautions or dangers that require buggies to stop before proceeding. Remember to make sure the approaching buggy has a clear visual of the buggy in front before proceeding, and always wait for the next buggy in the line.
General information callouts. Too much radio communication can be distracting and confusing. To minimize the amount of radio communication, the guide will send out general information callouts that do not need to be repeated from buggy to buggy. These general callouts will start out with all cars, followed by the information.
All cars, oncoming traffic, stay to the right, 6.2.
Helpful tips when using the radio to communicate to all buggies in the group. Adjust the volume so you can hear when the buggy is at speed. This may mean that the volume is a little loud when sitting still. When communicating to other buggies, pause for a beat after pressing the push-to-talk button before speaking to avoid cutting off the first part of the message. If someone is talking on the radio, wait for them to finish before trying to communicate. If two people try talking at the same time, neither will be heard. Speak with a normal voice and avoid yelling into the radio. Keep the communication brief, clear, and consistent.
Our goal at Zero1 is to provide an amazing experience while respecting the beauty of the area we are privileged to use. We believe in responsible off-roading and are part of the Tread Lightly program that aims to respect and protect the desert environment. With that being said, it is important that we stay on the designated trails. We do not leave any trash in the desert. We respect wildlife and their habitats. We do not remove anything from the desert. We respect other off-road enthusiasts. We obey the speed limits when entering any towns. We slow for other vehicles or people we encounter while on the trails.
The basic rules can be boiled down to these 4 points. Expect the unexpected. Do not rely solely on information provided by the guide. There is a chance that things can happen between buggies that the guide did not encounter, such as wildlife running between buggies or rocks being kicked into the trail. It is each driver and co-driver's responsibility to be on the lookout for the unexpected. Drive only as far as you can see. The ability to see the trails and identify any potential hazards is critical. If you're uncertain about what's ahead, slow your speed so you have the time to react accordingly. Stay out of the dust. The best way to increase visibility is to stay out of the dust. The amount of dust will vary throughout the day based on speed, trail conditions, and wind. Drivers need to adjust their following distance accordingly. If at any point you slow dramatically or stop on the trail because of dust, it's important that you get on the radio and let the buggies behind know that you're stopped. Drive at your comfort level. Never feel pressured to drive faster than you're comfortable. The radio communication and the support of our tail buggy will ensure no one will be left behind. Lastly, don't let your co-driver push you to drive faster than you want. If you're not comfortable, you're not having fun.
We covered a lot, but rest assured there's nothing like strapping in and getting some miles under your belt. You'll find the buggy and trail learning curve is so short that you'll be comfortable and confident in no time. With thousands of acres, few are licensed with access to travel. Zero1 will allow you to see parts of the world hidden from the casual traveler. We take you to the places where history happened, where nature's flora and fauna are still wild, and people are salt of the earth real. The Zero1 experience has been carefully crafted to deliver a wealth of stories and bucket-listed memories to our guests. Our treks are singularly unique experiences, true odysseys that provide Southwest exploits that, like your personal fingerprint, simply can't be matched anywhere else. In just a few minutes, your adventure will begin. Welcome to your Odyssey.